welcome to my first edition of Laundry Day. Once or twice a week, I'm going to share a little bit, and we're going to air out some dirty laundry that I've come across in the last several days. Today we're going to start with the Honorable Reverend Kenneth Flowers from Detroit, Michigan. Okay, maybe he's not so honorable. Reverend Flowers is the former pastor of Greater New Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church. Wow, that was a mouthful. Flowers was sentenced to 4 to 15 years after pleading to 2 counts of third-degree criminal sexual assault of a 17-year-old boy back in 2023. By pleading guilty, he was allowed to avoid a trial. I have to be okay with that because it allowed his 17-year-old victim to not have to go through the ordeal of a trial. And while I hate that, if the victim does not want to come forward in a trial setting or any setting, or come forward at all, we have to honor that. It is always 100% up to the victim how they want to come forward, or if they even want to come forward, and when they want to come forward. Flowers also had to register as a sex offender on the Michigan Sex Offenders Registry. It's no surprise he's also denied any and all of the allegations against him. Apparently, Flowers has had quite the fall from grace because of his actions. Seems he has been held in very high esteem for decades now. He's preached among and to a lot of famous and political figures. Are you impressed with that? Yeah, me either. So hopefully he'll be in prison for much longer than the minimal amount of 4 years, but we'll see. And by the way, I really love his picture on the Michigan Sex Offender Registry. He's grinning like he's at an Olin Mills studio taking a family photo. Jeez. Next up, we have a Catholic priest from Nashville who was just sentenced to 7 years for sexual misconduct involving children and adults. Looks like he was an equal opportunity abuser. Juan Carlos Garcia formerly served as an associate pastor at St. Philip Catholic Church in Franklin, Tennessee. Thankfully, he now has to serve those 7 years. At least we hope he has to serve all 7. And then he will be listed on the Tennessee Sex Offender Registry. He did plead guilty to 1 count of continuous sexual abuse of a child, 1 count of aggravated sexual battery, and 4 counts of sexual battery by an authority figure. The diocese where he was stated that multiple counts included both minors and adults. For whatever reason, they wanted to clarify that it was both minors and adults. I guess they thought that sounded better. I guess the fact that he abused both minors and adults wasn't as bad in their eyes. I don't get it. As part of his guilty plea, he agreed not to contest his removal from the priesthood. How magnanimous of him. Sure didn't take him long, though, to break his vows. He's only been in the priesthood and ordained since 2020. Quick learner, I guess. Let's move on to this one, and this one really irritates me. In Ventura City, California, we have a councilman who settled a lawsuit related to his son's sexual abuse of a young girl. They, the abuser's parents, were being sued because the young lady says that Jim Duran, his wife Pam, and the church knew about this sexual abuse that was going on with his son, James Duran II. In 2022, Duran II pleaded guilty to a felony count of oral copulation with someone under the age of 18. Then he served 4 months. That's right, 4 months in the Ventura County Jail. The crime occurred 7 years earlier when Duran II, okay, I'm just going to call him Junior, was a youth group leader at the River Community Church in Ventura. His parents founded River Community Church, and the victim was a member of the youth group. A year after Junior pleaded guilty, the victim filed a lawsuit against Senior, his wife, Junior, and the church itself. The victim says that the sexual abuse happened or it began when she was about 14 and Junior was about 22. But Junior only pleaded guilty to the conduct when she was 16 or older. And because of his pleading, the prosecutors dropped the rest of the charges. In June, this past June, the victim dropped her lawsuit because there was an out-of-court settlement. None of those details are public information at this time. Wouldn't surprise me if she had to sign an NDA. Nobody wants to comment. Attorneys won't comment, senior won't comment, and of course all the defendants denied any accusations. None of it was true. What really gets me though about this one is the victim said that she feels she was to blame, that she had in fact been blamed. Seemed Junior's mother had a little talk with the victim, and according to her, she quote-unquote grilled her about her relationship with her son. The mother told her she needed to focus on God and not her son. And quoting the victim, she said she was humiliated and that the mother made her feel like she had acted like a slut. This is why victims don't come forward. Fine Christian family you got there. Of course, both Senior and his wife both denied that they knew anything about it. They didn't know that there was a relationship. They didn't know anything about anything. They were totally oblivious to their son having any sort of involvement with the girl. Said they didn't find out about it until 5 years after it ended. The victim was 21 years old before she went to the police. Is it any wonder? According to the lawsuit, the police actually listened in on a phone call between the victim and Junior, and Junior said no, he had never told anybody because he could go to jail for a long time. No kidding, Junior. She was a minor. And well, you should have gone to jail. So yeah, he went to jail for 4 months. 4 months. And then he remained on probation for another year. He did register as a sex offender, and he only has to stay on that until 2032. But the thing that really gets me, his records are not available to the public. Why? Because he's had it expunged. That's right. It's as if it never happened. Thank you, Mommy and Daddy, for footing the bill for that and probably pulling a few strings since Senior is on the Ventura County Council. That's some BS right there. The case has already been erased off the court website. The file's no longer available. Like I said, it's as if it never happened. Except to the young woman, I promise you she knows it happened, and she will forever know it happened. And another North Carolina pastor, Elijah Rouse, accused of rape, kidnapping, and pulling a gun on a woman. Well, that's a fine thing to attain to as a pastor, isn't it? Not a whole lot known on this story, but it's enough to know this guy needs to get a new profession. Going forward, I don't think he's going to do well in the ministry. The 41-year-old Elijah Rouse, pastor of Destiny Impact Church Ministries, was arrested recently, and he was charged with first-degree forcible rape and kidnapping after a pretty violent and scary encounter with a woman on July the 7th. Doesn't sound like he was being very godly when he allegedly raped and sexually assaulted the woman and then pointed a gun at her. Right now he's in jail. They might want to start looking for a new pastor. And moving right along to Warren, Ohio, we find youth leader Virgil Ball, who pleaded guilty to 7 counts of an indictment that included charges of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor. He did plead guilty to an ongoing inappropriate relationship with a young girl. Seems he communicated with her in person and online. He solicited sex from her, and they swapped pornographic pictures and videos. And then finally it did end in them having sex. The crimes happened between August 2023 and February of 2024 when the girl was just 13 and 14 years old at the time. We really need to start vetting these youth pastors just a little bit better. And that's all the dirty laundry I have for today. But make no mistake, there will be plenty more where this came from.